Gumbeaux Fam. I just want to start by saying welcome, but also I am coming to you all striking while the iron's hot, while my brain is working, while my wheels are turning, while I feel the urge and urgency to make what is this? A podcast. What is this? Y'all probably gonna be like, what are you on? I am, besides coffee, this protein coffee that I had this morning, I am on the topic of yet another parent. All right. For those that have known the show, understand the show, you know what a parent is, right? It is a rant for parents, but it's not just for you don't have to be a parent to participate in a parent. You can listen, you can observe, and you can also say, hey, you know what's saying you tripping. That's not something to rant about. That's not something to halt whatever progress you claim to have. But if you also just want to listen to be that cerebral person that you are, because it's the reason that you're a part of the Gumbeaux Fam, you are a person that's committed to open dialogue and conversation. You are committed to transparency. You are committed to humility. That's everything about a hot gumbo. I talked about that hot being, for those OGs that are the show, hot was for humility. It was for being open and being honest. And so H was for honesty too. But T is for transparency and transformation too. And so this is all what a hot gumbo is. And so thank y'all for just, number one, listening, consuming the show at a pace where it's digestible, right? But also some of you all are binging the show, which I really, really love, and going back to old school episodes. Y'all have favorites. And so on other things, we're going to talk about those favorite episodes. I'm going to be able to shout that out. I just want to talk to y'all right now as I'm feeling so much emotion. Y'all probably can hear it in my voice. Just the pace of my voice is at a different stage and an octave, because I feel so many emotions at the same time. I've had a rough patch of weeks that have just collided into one another. It felt like waves. If you could picture yourself at a shore, the shore of the most beautiful beach, and you are in love with everything you're seeing, but a tide rolls in, you lose your balance, and then another one rolls in, and another and another. Just imagine yourself being washed. You're still like, man, can I get up? And that's what it's felt like for the past couple weeks. Part of what it's felt like is failure. I didn't feel like I could get up, but I had been getting up. It's just to be knocked down again. My perspective was altered because if you can imagine, let's stay on the reference of being hit by the tide over and over again. Imagine the tides in your life that you've been hit by so far. You know that those tides and waves are hard. They hurt. And to get up, you're scared, right? Because, man, will that next wave be just as bad? Also, you're confused because, man, how do I prevent these waves? Do I get out the pool? Man, I can't go anywhere. I can't go back to shore. The waves are going to be right there. Or if you do go back to shore, does that make you a coward? Does that make you a failure? Are you a quitter because you got out of that water? Are these, there's no bridge to cross. You're going to have to get through it, right? All of those metaphors have the feeling of this, and I'm on the cusp of something wonderful for my life. I am approaching 10 years of marriage on October 2nd. Audible clap. I know. Studio audience one day. Yeah, I know. Thank you. Thank you. In the back, thank you so much. Thank you. I see you, brother. I see you. I love you. Thank you. 10 years of marriage on October 2nd to my best friend. I am so nervous. It's almost feeling like to cross that number 10, the number 1 has been in the way. The 0 is just big. I don't know. But it felt like, or feels like, a wall we're having to climb and cross together, hand in hand, arm in arm. Because these waves of life have been getting on to me, my best friend ain't been seen as my best friend. To be completely transparent, I've been like, you my op. And he ain't do nothing. But because he's also my best friend, he becomes my punching bag. That's not healthy. And when we have another commemoration of our 10-year. We're going to do an episode for that. And when he comes on, I'm going to see how he feels about that. I'm not going to assume how he feels. I'm going to tell you all of the things that I have done. Perfectly imperfect person. If I've ever implied on this show that I'm perfect, call me out. I'm a liar. I'm not. And it's the reason I've started the gumbo. It's the reason besides celebrating these beautiful people I've come across and been able to meet and highlighting what they're doing and their perspectives and opening up our minds, cracking that thing open like an egg. That's the goal of the gumbo, right? Food for your soul. Are you being fed? And this 2 weeks, I've lost perspective of what that means. Gumbo has been kind of my outlet. It's been calling me because I know that for a fact I can get it out. And then when it's out, it's out. And let me just tell y'all something before I start my rant, because it feels like I've already been in there, right? Rounding this out, my peace is in letting that go. Let me tell you something. When y'all are feeling trapped, when you feel like those waves and you're suffering in silence, that is the worst place to be, in isolation. If you haven't released how you really feel to someone you trust, if you haven't gotten or sought the counseling, possibly, if that's a route you want to take, and getting that out in that way constructively and finding some peace and solace with working that out and healing those wounds, you are going to be lost. One thing the enemy loves to do. Oh, and for those that it's your first episode that somebody sent you, I'm sorry. I'm a believer. Yeah. I believe in the power of Christ. I love the Lord. And it's not to say to anyone else that isn't. It's to say that I know him. He saved me. He is saving me every step of the way. And when I say that I've lost hope these past 2 weeks because I've seen humanity in a different light, I've seen frustrations in myself that just didn't look like God, didn't look like him. And so all of that to say, I am not the perfect person. But when the enemy speaks to your shame, it's because you're hiding it. Stop hiding. Stop hiding. I know it's embarrassing. I know people are going to judge you. I know some people that won't. And those are the people that love you. My mom said to me before, and I know it's somebody else that said it, the people that care don't matter, and the people that matter don't care. The people that matter to you, they will not care how it sounds. They only care about your transformation and healing. The people that care that much about what you say and how you say it, if it's not hurting anyone, it's only helping you. Hear me out when I say that, because I'm not saying you're going out hurting people. But if you have to tell the truth is enlightenment. It will get you there to healing faster. But it's hard. It's hard to admit that we have faults. It's hard to admit that we are shamed. And part of this episode, right, to get it to lead up into, now that we're on the tip of the roller coaster, to bring me down, is that the enemy has spoken to me these past 2 weeks because of my shame. I'm calling this episode I'm Built Different, because that's something my son says a lot. I'm built different. I'm built different. And for those that have tweens, teens, and just kids, or just being around the culture, so to speak, and you have access to social media, you've heard it before. I'm built different according to chat. Chat is the new Google, right? According to chat, it's a cultural kind of colloquialism. It's a shorthand statement that a lot of us say. They use it in the context that you don't operate the same, that you have something uncommon about yourself that makes you stand out, your mindset, whatever that is, whether you look different, whether you dress different, what breaks you or sets you apart from other people. And how spiritual that is, y'all, we could go there. For those that are spiritual, just knowing, set apart, being holy. I'm built different is different. But my son says that. And he says it, and to be honest, he is. What has happened in the past 2 weeks has been, my son is coming in of age, and he's coming into himself, and he's finding his voice. The frustrating part about that is me being a parent that also is finding hers. Why is that frustrating? Because I'm not teaching from a place of wisdom where I have the experience. I'm literally walking alongside him, arm in arm, advocating for him the best way I can, but only to a peak that I've reached. That's a fancy way of saying, y'all, I'm not there yet. I'm not there. I'm not all the way there to speak in a way that I can teach right now because we're learning together. I'm afraid of a lot of things, and Kai is different. You know what I'm saying? And I love him. I love his differences, but the world doesn't. And I'm going to say this. This is where the rant gets me. He has his quirks. He's quiet. He's isolated. He likes his games. He likes his solitude. He likes his peace. He get an attitude when you disrupt it. Some kids don't see that. And I think when I said this on the previous episode, if you've listened to it, as an asset, when you grow up in adolescenthood, it's you got to conform. You got to fit in. And then later in life, it's almost like, oh, wait. All that fitting in you did, never mind, stand out. Because now that you're a part of adulthood, you need to be an individual. But you're taught to be a follower. You know what I'm saying? We legit are, we consumed by a world that wants us to be followers. Look at social media. You have a following, you're a follower, you subscribe. Bro, we so much that we have to do is becoming like everyone else. And then you're later thought and taught to stand out, and you can't. And so my whole frustration has been in parenting, and specifically I'm talking about my eldest, is because I just want to knowing what I know now as a 37-year-old woman want to have a Freaky Friday moment. I want to have a body swap. Now I'm saying this, but if that were to happen, I'd be coming on the gumbo telling y'all a much different story. But if, I'm not saying I want anybody in any type of way, shape, or form to put me to sleep and cast or whatever and swap bodies. Not what I'm saying, but I would love to a day in the life of him, because the stuff and damage, and this is where my flesh comes in. So I'm gonna preface this by saying, all right, if y'all holier than thou, y'all not gonna like what I'm about to say, because the people that mess with my child, they prefer him not to be, quote, weird. That's the word, right? It's not even the fact that you're complex, that you have quirks, that you have nuances, that you have individuality. Those big words, nah, you just weird. And if you don't think like everybody else, you weird. If you quiet, you weird. If you dress a certain way, you weird. If you do this, you weird, because you don't do what we do. It's not that, quote, I'm built different. You set apart, and you're shunned for it. You're not praised for that until later in life. If I can jump in his body, y'all, the damage I would do to them children, and it's not just putting hands on them. It's not just laying hands on nobody. It's the stuff that would come out my mouth. It would be my mannerism. They probably would know it wouldn't be Kai, but it's knowing what I know. Now, I'm not going to even go into detail about what I would think I would do to them children or say to them children. If they said anything to me, I'd be ready to click quick, anything. I would just had it on my mind. It's on my mind. I'm in his body. Control. Now it's time to just control him. Everybody. They would be treating him different because I'm different. It's something. I would probably end up getting jumped. Let's just be honest. Let's just be fair. I would end the day getting jumped. Male and female alike. Just jumped. With that being said, because I'm not him, I have to watch this. That's the hardest part, is to teach someone to be themselves and be individualistic and to have their own identity and to have confidence in your uniqueness and to have resilience and grit when people put you down. I'm building you and pouring back into you. That's hard. And if you're a parent, or if you're any adult that is trying to do that, or maybe you're just doing that to your darn self when you get home, that's hard, to pour a cup that has been literally cracked and your holes have been poked at you and you're seeping. The water is seeping out. Slow, but seeping. You are withering bit by bit. And if you don't have the right person, the right people, the right places, things that you do to mend those cracks, the damage. What I will say is, I too know what that feels like. I've talked about bullying. I talked about being bullied. I can go back there to that bully person right now. Bullied person, right? I can go back to that child and she shows up a lot. That bullied Sagan shows up when it's time for me to show up for myself in places I haven't been in roles I've never stood in, or rooms I haven't been a part of. I become small, right? I like, I shouldn't be here. God, why am I here? They're so much better than me. God, you got to talk about people with PhDs. Oh my goodness, this is a doctor. This is a lawyer. This is a nurse practitioner. These are, oh my God, 30 years in the game. These people are, why am I here? How am I here? And instead of being thankful and grateful for the opportunity to stand in that, I become small first. And I say first because I eventually work through those things and still push through that fear, which I'm trying to teach my son. But I can't teach him how to not shrink if I'm still shrinking. And so I'm saying this to you all, imparting this knowledge to you. You can only teach, preach from a place that you've reached. And that means that you might have to get some external help, right? Resources, people to help you skill up or to get them to where they need to be. And that's where I'm at. This parent is that I need to be built different. I need to be rebuilt. Total rebrand. Okay? The thing I want to leave y'all with is to declare that you're built different. And I want you to say that to yourself in a way in which that you're set apart. Which also means that you will have and face different obstacles, bigger obstacles, tougher waves. What will you do? Are you going to, because the feeling of shrinking hurts. It does. Because you stand tall, you've worked through. To go back is harder. So are you, from this moment of listening to this podcast, going to rise up? Or are you going to continue the shrinking thinking and the shrinking model and resort to those people, places, and things that feel familiar to you, but they're not good to you, good for you, right? What are you going to do from this point on? And for me, my choice is to deny myself of what I love, which is comfort. That's what we essentially want. We want comfort. So maybe if I had a bad day, I want to eat a tub of ice cream. I can't do that. Denying myself and saying I'm still going to sit in the wave, that becomes the truth and choice. And so, Gumbeaux Fam, thank y'all for choosing you, because I know you will. That's the hardest thing to do, is to commit to the work. Because it ain't going to happen in a flash. It's a work. It's a process. So what does that mean? Well, saying I'm not going to see the results in a week, which I would love to see it today. But you will see the fruits of your labor in the people around you, and everyone else begins to see the journey. And maybe it'll take you seeing it later, but keep it. Stay the course. You're not average. You different. Right? Thank y'all for listening. I love y'all, and y'all have a good one.